We eat our own maize, our own shima, our own vegetables, our own, chickens, our own meat, and the rest, the few things that we need are just to add up. But most of the things that we consume at home, we make our own soya, coffee. So we've been able to sustain ourselves. I think we've cut on certain costs as a family.
By creation, human beings are the only creatures who are charged with the responsibility of working for their food and other basic needs which they require to live better lives. This therefore entails that all individuals come across several income-generating opportunities throughout their lives. These opportunities compete for time and commitment from people. But not everyone seizes these chances, let alone more than one opportunity. Many people in Zambia tend to think and believe that having a formal job is secure enough for them to fend for their families in their lifetime. This notion is even held true by public service workers who often do not realize that formal employment is but one source of income. When things go wrong, then times become rough for these workers and their families. This is exactly what a 36-year-old civil servant in Mufumbwe District in Northwestern Province, AUBREY Musonda, avoids. He has ventured into farming initiatives to multiply his income base, though still on a small scale.
He's one of the creative and innovative officers that I have in the district. He's my assistant. Very creative in a sense that he does not just depend on the salary.
He's been here longer than most of us, and I think I've seen him very committed to community development work. That's something that I admire from him.
Just like the moment someone is born, the person, the individual begins to die the moment that the person is born. I think even when we get employed, I think the first thing that we need to know is that our salaries are our capital. And then when we get employed, we begin to prepare for retirement, because no one is indispensable. Today you have a job, tomorrow you're not going to have that job.
True to the old saying, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. AUBREY Musonda, who works as Assistant Community Development Officer for the Ministry of Community Development in Mufumbwe, has engaged into growing sunflower, soya beans and maize, in addition to producing several livestock and poultry products such as pork, turkey and eggs. While many civil servants would rather trim their expenses instead of boosting their earnings, Mr. Musonda understands that if for some reason one of his investments or income streams go dry, he can still swim through hardships of life.
I started with my salary. I used my salary and I spread it over 2 months. I realized that I couldn't just start with my whole salary. So what I did was I spread the project within 2 months. So in the first month, I used half of my salary to buy the chicks and to buy a few bags of feed. And I had made sure that with the time I was ordering the chicks, they would meet the other salary and the feed would go up to the next month, so that I can be able to buy feed to finish off the batch that I had bought.
There is obviously nothing wrong with saving money, but there is definitely something right with investing into profitable businesses, because from increased earnings, people are able to efficiently take part in the economic growth of the country through their ideas and projects. Mr. Musonda in Mufumbwe District, more than 240 kilometers from the provincial capital Solwezi, rears broilers and village chickens, guinea fowls, rabbits, pigs and goats, which he sells to residents and businesses across the district. Currently, he has 5 pigs and 20 goats, a total of 240 broiler and village chicks for the market.
When the turkeys hatch and the village chickens hatch, we tend to get the chicks from them and mix them with the broilers to increase the chance of survival. And we are faced with the challenge of wild birds snatching the chicks from the turkeys and from the village chickens. So that's what we've been doing. In the next 6 weeks, these chicks will be ready for the market.
But one may ask, how does Mr. Musonda manage the business, which is based at his residence in Kalende area of Mufumbwe, about 8 kilometers from the main township? How does a civil servant working from 08 hours to 17 hours every weekday find time to run a business? Mr. Musonda, who is a planner by profession, utilizes his off-duty time on Saturdays and Sundays. During the week, his young brother manages the business, which is trading under the name 0X General Dealers. He begins his weekends by first feeding his livestock, starting with the rabbits, then the chickens, turkeys and guinea fowls, before going to do the same for his pigs. Thereafter, he proceeds to the vegetable garden, which he co-owns with his neighbor, a teacher of Mufumbwe.
As a country, each and every person should contribute to the well-being of the economy. If the economy is to do very well, each and every person should do 1 or 2 things. So this is what we are trying to put in place.
In the afternoon, AUBREY Musonda rides about 1.5 kilometers on his motorbike to the farm, where he keeps the goats and grows his maize, groundnuts and soybeans. His customers praise him as he is among the best poultry farmers in the district, with a good relation with his buyers.
He's one of the outstanding poultry producers because his birds are relatively cheaper in terms of price, but the sizes are bigger than other producers.
We work in hand with Mr. Musonda. He's the farmer who supplies us the chicken which we use at the Mass's restaurant. As you can see outside, we are doing the drying of the product of Mr. Musonda. We recommend them among the farmers who are farming in Mufumbwe. When we have Mr. Musonda's chicken in stock, people after spicing it, people they enjoy it, it's nice.
Engaging in new initiatives or businesses is not easy and requires not only capital or an idea, but inspiration as well. Having started his small business while on a United Nations High Commission for Refugees UNHCR attachment program at Mahewa Refugee Settlement Camp in Solwezi, AUBREY Musonda draws much of this inspiration from his wife of 4 years, with whom he has 2 children.
My wife is always backing me up. I think I wouldn't have been here or be doing this if my wife wasn't really in support of what I'm doing. And there are other family members, I think my extended family and all that. I think they help.
Starting a business is one thing, sustaining and growing it is something else altogether. And running his has not always been easy for AUBREY Musonda. For example, in 2013, his business almost collapsed when he was in school studying for his Bachelor of Science degree in Project Management at Cavendish University.
Unfortunately, I had gone to school and my brother was managing the business, and by then he had not really learned a lot about poultry business. So there was a little bit of negligence, and when I came back from school, the production that I'd left was about 14 to 15 trays a day, because we had about 560 layers. So the production had just reached peak when I left. When I came back, I spent about a month. We were getting less than a tray, sometimes 2 trays a day. That was really heartbreaking, situation, because I had a lot of hopes.
Young people have for many years queried government for white-collar jobs and opportunities, while farming is one of those sustainable initiatives that can benefit everyone. This therefore calls for everyone to be proactive and tap into their creativity and entrepreneurial sides so that they are not overly dependent on the government, let alone on salaries or single sources of income.
At the moment, we are no longer looking at the MDGs. We are looking at sustainable development goals at the moment. And I think when we look at the way even the strategic plans have been formulated by the government at large, there are more of sustainable development, strategic plans than the usual, planning where it was just planning for a short period of time. We have a vision that is wide. It's vision 2064 or something that we have at the moment. So my advice is that we need to flow with time.
One thing that we should understand is that in life, one should not rely on one thing. As a teacher, I believe it's not all about classwork, breaking chalk, but one can venture into other initiatives like farming, so that you try to reduce on certain expenses. Because when you look at a distance from here to the boma, it's quite far. But with a garden like this one, I don't need to get vegetables from the boma.
Meanwhile, Mufumbwe livestock technician under the veterinary department of the government pledged continued support and advice to livestock farmers in the district. His sentiments are equally shared by the district planning officer for Mufumbwe.
I'd just like to encourage our farmers, let them follow what we teach them as a department here. Because if they continue following what we teach them here, then our business will boost. The animals will be okay. Because when you're keeping animals, it's a business. So if you want your business to boost, then we're supposed to follow all the instructions which us here, as the livestock department, we give them.
So these people are keeping livestock in the district. They are keeping it illegally at the backyard of their plots. So my first advice is they need to register their business. They need to come to the council. We advise them where to keep these livestock. There is also need for them to get business permit, which is only 265 kwacha per year.
These appeals are cardinal for the local entrepreneurs. They ensure that people like AUBREY Musonda do not only get the right information, but also the much needed support. Meanwhile, the district commissioner has equally commended entrepreneurship among the people of Mufumbwe, particularly civil servants.
Government cannot employ everybody, but we want people to make sure that their businesses grow and employ other people onto their businesses. Let them cast their mind wide. Let us not all be selling tomatoes, because we will not be eating tomatoes. Let other people also engage into other business ventures that may be foreign to Mufumbwe, but will benefit the people in this community. We want to see people growing up to establish health facilities that are privately owned. We want to see people going to hold a private entrepreneurship in education, private entrepreneurship in many other programs, the hotel business, so that we can grow our community.
We need to also be able to see that we contribute to the economy of this country by being productive. I know people will say, I can't be a farmer, there's no land here. But at the moment, it's not about just farming. It's about looking at what you can offer, because we've got people from different backgrounds and they're able to offer different things to this country.
Of course, it cannot all be about farming. There are many opportunities available in health, agriculture, education, manufacturing and carpentry for different types of people. It all begins with having the right attitude.
It's not only for the politicians, but also for ordinary citizens like me, even the people out there, to look at things differently and also change our mindset. I think we are people that have been accustomed to hand-to-mouth kind of situations where you find a person who gets paid, spend that money, forget, wait for the next salary. I think when faced with a challenge, that's when you'll be able to see that I really need to grow my income base. So let's be a people with a changed mindset, a productive mindset, a mindset that is thinking beyond tomorrow. So we need to think outside the box.
AUBREY Musonda, a committed civil servant in the remote district of Mufumbwe, which has a central statistical office projected population of over 70,500 people, has taken a proactive role to secure his future, that of his family, and as well as the future of his community.
Wena wakurumpa atufundisha ngo cyenkula manda makuyimuna idina yumuna watusumba gushika ku 15 idukutenge na wankanga anamuna manana adidemu na mukati muna cyentu adimango nikabaka cyenga wakurumpa watubishira ngo cyeke turetera busandi fulawo dinadi macyengi cyo cyaka.
We've been able to buy land, we've been able to come up with structures on our plot, we've been able to take our children to school. I've been able to also upgrade to do my bachelor's degree just from the same business, which is practically impossible to do with just a mere salary.
The success of this country or the development of this country depends on the civil servant, because we're the majority in this country with the different skills. Now, you see, particularly civil servants in rural areas, when we are posted here in rural areas, we feel we are denied of good staff. These other leisure staff found in urban areas. But what I can advise civil servants is that you can succeed wherever you are, either in rural areas or in urban areas. But what matters is how you make use of your mind, because you can be, have and do anything wherever you are.
The environment may describe who people are, but it definitely does not define their economic status. Zambians need to get in touch with their creative and entrepreneurial sides so as to have more than one way of generating incomes. Expanding one's income base is a key precautionary measure for every citizen, particularly civil servants like AUBREY Musonda and other people in formal employment, to mitigate the risk of devastation when things turn sour or when one loses a dependable job.
My thinking is that if today I was to lose my employment as a civil servant or from the civil service, what would be the fate of my family, what would be the fate of my children? So the plan in itself is that even if I was to be discharged today from the civil service, life would still continue. We will still be able to sustain ourselves. And that is the satisfaction that I get from the business that I do.
A new mindset for every Zambian and every person means a new and transformative agenda that promotes prosperity and high standards of living for generations to come. It should be borne in mind that every citizen has a duty to contribute to the growth of the national economy in one way or the other, beginning with the community where one lives.
In the next 5 years, I think we also intend to get ourselves a tractor that will help us mechanize our farm. Probably we also intend to get a kit, a drip irrigation kit, to help us, because we've got a stream that passes just in our land. So we intend to also get a drip irrigation system for our vegetable farming.
Mukwenda mukunanga